They always ask what brushes do you use, but they never ask how you use your brushes. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you saw from the title, in this video I'm going to try to paint with only the default brushes as well as the texture brushes. Okay, so the reason that I want to do this is because I get comments and messages all the time asking me what kind of brushes do I use. So I decided for this video, you know what, I want to see what all the fuss is about. Why are people placing so much emphasis on brushes? I really do think that you can make good paintings with any kind of brushes as long as you have your fundamentals down. I don't know, it just feels like brushes are almost kind of a distraction. Like, brushes do change the feeling of your painting, but they don't do that much, I don't think. All right, so that's what we're gonna try to find out today. Like, does it really matter that much what kind of brushes you're using for your paintings? Okay, so let's jump right in. Okay, I got a reference photo right here. We're gonna do a nice little portrait. Now, yes, this is a portrait, so with portraits, you might not need as many textures as you would environment. So if you guys wanna see another video like this where I try to do an environment instead of a portrait, let me know in the comments. I almost forgot to record my screen, almost. Very close, that was very close. But I remember this time. Okay, so let's jump in here. Let's start on this portrait. Now, I'm gonna pull up on the screen. You can see I am using the general brushes, okay? These are the brushes under the general brushes folder. And these are basically the really basic brushes that come pre-installed with Photoshop. You know, there's nothing special about them. It's just a little bit of opacity, a little bit of pen pressure, and that's about it, okay? So we're gonna try to paint this portrait with only these brushes for now. And then we're gonna try to add in some of my own custom texture brushes and see how much of a difference the textures actually make for your drawing. So right off the bat here, I'm using a brush that is called the hard round pressure size. So this brush tapers as your pen pressure gets lighter, and it's really good for making lines, and that's what I'm doing with it here. Ever since our last round brush challenge video, I've actually really started to enjoy using the round brush. Honestly, like it just gets the job done, you know? It doesn't say too much, but it gets the job done. Okay, so far, am I missing my custom brushes? Not at all. I am doing exactly everything that I want to do with the round brush, and I don't feel like anything here is really holding me back in terms of my artistic abilities. So far it's going pretty well, and it's been about 15 minutes. And we'll see, once I go over this finished painting again with my custom brushes, maybe I'll change my mind. And I'm really having a lot of fun because these brushes, they're the basic brushes, so they're not doing anything for me. They're not creating textures for me. If I want to make something look like a certain kind of texture, I gotta think about how am I gonna do this, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so it's been about 35 minutes so far, and it's still, I'm not missing my custom brushes. There's nothing really holding me back here with these brushes. There's nothing that like I could do with my custom brushes that I just absolutely cannot do with these brushes. Aside from maybe some fancy textures, but we're not gonna worry about that right now. Okay, so now we're going into hair. This one's for all you hairbrush people. Okay, so the thing with hair is I see a lot of people with their fancy hairbrushes, and it's like the brushes make it look like they painted every single strand of hair, but I think that kind of takes some of the life out of your painting. If you're gonna go into rendering hair, like think about the big shapes, you know, think about how you're gonna capture the highlights, the shadows, the midtones, instead of thinking of it like you gotta paint every single strand, because that's just, it's gonna take some of the life out of your painting. All I'm doing here is I'm using the basic default brushes. There are no textures, there are no crazy scattering on these brushes. It's just a basic brush. It's about the way you put your strokes together, and so about the way you pick your colors and how you apply them. That's what really matters here. It's not the build of the brush. Okay, so it's been about 1 hour, and here's our finished portrait with the basic brushes in Photoshop, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I mean, everything that I wanted to achieve, I've been able to achieve, and the brushes are nothing fancy. I mean, they're super basic, but they give you everything that you need. I'm gonna go back in right now and try to apply some of my custom brushes, some of my texture brushes, and see how that's gonna change the feeling of the painting. And we're gonna compare the two when I'm done and try to see whether or not it actually makes a huge difference. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna check back in with you guys in just a second. Okay, so it's been another 15 minutes. I've gone back in and used my custom brushes to add some final touches to the painting that I think were missing from the other one. But other than that, they're pretty similar. There's really not too much of a difference, and I really was not holding back with my own custom brushes and my texture brushes because I was trying as hard as I can to, you know, make this piece really pop with the custom brushes that I got. But yes, overall I think the piece that I was able to use my custom brushes on turned out a little bit better. It does look a little bit more pleasing in my opinion, but is there really that big of a difference? I don't think so. The brushes that you're using really don't matter as much as you think. We can do another video like this for environments and we can see how that turns out. I feel like that might be a little bit different, but for portraits, for this, you don't need the... It's just the way you use your brushes. It's not about the brushes, okay? And you can absolutely paint with just the default brushes like I showed you before, like this piece right here. That's a full-fledged portrait. I don't think there's anything really missing from this. It just doesn't have the same textures that I've got with the custom brushes, but does it really make that big of a difference? I don't think so. You can just go into whichever app you're using and play around with the default brush settings and see what you can come up with, because you don't need fancy brushes to make fancy paintings. I think brushes do matter. They do, you know, add your own unique touch to a painting, but we put way too much emphasis on brushes. The important thing here is to set the foundations, build up your own skill set instead of building up that brush collection. And yes, my custom brushes are on Patreon, but I don't recommend you guys spend money on them because like we see here, it's not gonna turn your art into something entirely different. Okay, so this is the point that I'm trying to get across. There's no magic here behind the brushes, okay? It's all about you and nobody else here, just you. How much you're willing to learn, how much you're willing to give to this art journey, okay? I mean, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Go out there and paint with some default brushes. You're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. Trust me, you're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do. It'll help me a lot. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. You know, I'm hoping with this video, it'll show people that you absolutely don't need fancy custom brushes, you know, to make your portraits look good. That's how they get you, man. So all these people, like, they're like, buy my new brush pack. My new brush pack is on Gumroad. All my portrait brushes, my hair brushes. Like, you don't need that. Come on now. These, you know, like, we should all be working towards building up our skill sets, not our brush collections. The brushes don't do as much as you think. You could literally paint with the default brushes. You don't need all that. I hate seeing my little kids get scammed.